Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Authority Marketing Live. I'm so happy you're here. My name's Melanie Hirschhorn. I'm a book marketing strategist for nonfiction authors. I help authors amplify their voices online so that they can grow their influence and, well, basically their pocketbook. So thanks so much for being here today. I do want to remind you that on Monday, March 7th, I have an amazing opportunity for all nonfiction authors. It is a sparkles and strategy cocktail party for you to join. We're going to be celebrating. We're going to be talking lead magnets, and we're going to be networking, and it's going to be awesome and so much fun. So you are totally invited to that, and I will post the link very soon. But first, my guest today is an amazing woman. She is so accomplished, and she is so sweet to boot. So you're just going to love her. Her name is Dr. Cindy Childress, and she is the expert's ghostwriter. She also can help you crank out your book in 8 weeks, which God knows it's taken me a lot longer than that. So without further ado, here is Dr. Cindy. Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you so much for being here. And I totally, speaking of branding and stuff, I forgot to switch out the correct brand for today because this is Authority Marketing Live. So here we are. So thank you so much for being here. Let's talk about your expertise because you have you're just such a super knowledgeable woman, but you really focus on a couple things for authors. So why don't we talk about what you do to help authors?
Yes, so Crank Out Your Book in 8 Weeks is a program primarily to help people who want to write story-driven self-help books. So it's for people who are experts in your space. Maybe you already have a signature framework and are teaching a course or running group programs, and maybe you're not sure if you have a signature framework. That frequently happens in my course. And then through the process of developing your outline and really nailing down what you're going to cover, people discover that they have a framework and learn what it is. And then they take it back to make all their other marketing better. But it's definitely people who really care to make their book not just something to put on their bookcase, but something that is going to build a business. Because you mentioned my background, I do have a PhD in English. So I'm a freelance writing professor, and also those awards behind me are business awards with the International Business Awards. So I have the business savvy, I have the writing savvy. We put them together and write books that sell.
I love that. And I love how everything's color coordinated behind you.
Thank you. That was a tip from one of my friends.
I love it. It's perfect. So I love how you brought up the fact that it's not just writing a book for the sake of writing a book. It's not a vanity thing. It's a mission-driven book. There's a purpose, a reason, and it's not just writing it for the sake of writing it. You are going to do something with it. So what are some of the things that your clients have gone on to do with the books that they've written?
Yes, Katherine Brown, she's a ghostwriting client, but I'm so proud of her, and she's a shining example of what you can do with your book. She published it last summer, and then using the book, she created a series of virtual and in-person events and got herself booked as a speaker at much bigger events than she had before in the past. And she created new group offers for ways she could work with people beyond how her agency works, consulting with, major companies. She found a way to have offers that would also fit solopreneurs and people with very small teams. And, so this way she's expanding who she can help and getting her message out in a bigger way. This has also led to major collaborations on LinkedIn, and also, the name escapes me. It's the new app that everybody's talking about. Clubhouse. Sorry. Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not new anymore, but yeah.
No, it isn't. But she was an early adopter there, and using her book as a platform, as an authority, she really owned that space for talking about sales on Clubhouse. So I'm really proud of her. And these are things that you can do with your book.
That is amazing. I mean, that is basically the quintessential example. So thank you so much for talking about her and her book, because you're right. It's almost like the book is the gateway. And a lot of people focus so much on the publishing, and they don't necessarily realize what can happen afterward. And I love that you focus on that. So when you start working with a client, whether you're doing the ghostwriting for them or you're taking them through how to create the book, what's the first thing you start with? Is it, why are you writing this book in the first place, kind of thing?
Actually, no. That's
Oh,
the last thing we talk about. So,
really?
yeah, the first thing we talk about is the audience. Who are you writing your book for? Who's your message for? Because otherwise, with a lot of these people with 10 or 20 years of experience, what they could say to the world is probably more than one book, probably fits more than one audience. If we start there, we're going to be very confused trying to nail down, an outline of the book. But when we start with who's the reader, who's going to buy it, who's already in your audience that wants to hear from you on the subject you can most easily speak to, then we start narrowing down before we ever talk about it, what level of information is appropriate, which stories and examples will or will not resonate with that chosen primary audience. And from there, we look at what are your goals for the book? What do you want to achieve after the book is out there in people's hands? What do you want to happen? Because that also tells me things like, how long should the book be? How much research is necessary in this book? If you want it primarily to do more speaking and have kind of a business card book, then you don't need something 250 pages with, tons of citations in every chapter. You can have that if you want it, but it'll take longer, and it may not even be helpful to achieve those goals. So we look at that. But at the same time, if your book is primarily to lead others in your field who are also experts, then yes, you do need that longer, well-researched book. So we figure that out. And then with those choices made, then we do the table of contents brainstorm for your target reader, where they are now with the pain point that caused them to go search for exactly the topic that pulled up your book. What were they expecting to get that you deliver immediately within the first 1 to 10 pages, 20 tops? And then what else do you tell them to take them on the journey they wanted to go on, such that they're ready to continue interacting with you and your brand in whatever way is going to be the next step from the book to get them onto your email list and then into an appropriate funnel for your other offers.
Oh my gosh, music to my ears. This is gold. Like, I love the way you lay it out, because it is so strategic. It really, truly is. It's so much further than the book itself. And if we can go back just to the fact that you start with the target market, the target audience, that's so important, because a lot of times I will talk to people and they say, oh, yes, I need help with my book marketing. And I say, well, who's your book for? And they'll say, oh, everybody, all women, all women. What do you say to that?
Oh, yes. I say, well, that's awesome. And it very well may be. And there's a specific group of women that will much more easily say yes to this right now, who are going to be much more receptive. So why don't we target them in some way? Tell me about who that is. And then usually they'll reluctantly say, well, okay, you're right. Even though in my therapy practice, I work with everybody from teenagers to older people, there is a group category that more of them fit into. And those tend out to be the best paying clients, etc. And then I'll be like, okay, well, let's write the book for them. And then occasionally you can always pause and say, and by the way, to other people in some different audiences, here are some ways this can work for you too. You can do that with sidebars. You can just put it within a given paragraph, depending on what the flow is for your chapters. But without choosing that single audience, it'll be much harder to make other choices, like what should your book cover look like? What should your book description say? So if we just nail that down now, you're going to have it.
Yeah, I love this. Okay, now, how can somebody figure out if they need a ghostwriter? Like, how do you know if you need a ghostwriter? What if you kind of like writing, but you don't love it? Like, should you help?
Yes. So my ghostwriting clients are people who have a very clear pathway in mind for how the book is going to build their business in a really strategic way. And they don't have time to write it themselves. Like, it would not make sense for them to take themselves out of other priorities in their business and their life to pause it for a period of time to hone in their writing skills and really apply themselves to this. So that's the person that it makes a lot of sense for to partner with a ghostwriter. And I mentioned they have an idea for how this book is strategically going to build the business. I've had plenty of people to inquire with me and even begin the process, but because they didn't have a very clear vision of how they were going to implement it, they would let other things come first and then put those projects on hold indefinitely, as it were. I have a restart fee. If you're listening, you can always come back and restart if you, but that that's not a win for me either to
I
get.
was going to say, how does that feel for you? You poured so much energy into this and you want to see it to completion.
Exactly. It doesn't do my heart any good to work on an unfinished book. So, yeah, that, my best client is somebody who knows what's going to happen when it's finished, because then they won't let anything else come between themselves and getting it done. Even in the way, working with a ghostwriter, you haven't farmed out everything. You'll still have to look at what I've written for accuracy and
Right.
yeah. So it's a collaboration
So
still.
you. Yeah, absolutely. So you have a really fun quiz for everybody watching to take. So I just want to put that up there right now. And so tell us what this quiz is and what we'll learn.
Yes. This is the Discover Your Number One Best-Selling Author Personality Quiz. I love it. If you want to write a nonfiction book and there's something stopping you, take this quiz. Not only are you going to figure out what's in your way, but you're also going to unlock your personality's superpowers to help you get it done quickly and at a high level of quality.
I love that, Cindy. Thank you so, so much for being here today. You are just a fountain of information, and I appreciate you. And so I want you guys to go check out the quiz. It's Dr. Cindy Childress, and her website, not email, website is cindychildress.com/quiz, and you can find out your personality and get the answers that you've been looking for. Cindy, thank you so much for joining us today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It was a blast.
Wonderful. So guys, thank you. Go ahead and check out that quiz because it is awesome sauce. And like I mentioned, the party on Monday, that is the link. It's vipdigital.live/party for all you nonfiction authors to come and join. We're going to be celebrating at the Sparkles and Strategy cocktail party, and I hope to see you there. Our guest today was Dr. Cindy Childress. I'm going to show you that quiz again one more time just in case you forget it. It's cindychildress.com/quiz, and I'm going to actually take that as soon as I get off this live show. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day.